Breaking Brown family, Your Black World family, and I wanted to discuss with you some news that I learned this morning that Al Sharpton is being, should I say, relegated or diminished in terms of his capacity at MSNBC. Here's a guy who was doing a daily show, and primetime daily show, who is now being moved to Sundays only, with not as much of a political spin. And the most interesting thing for me when I heard the news was, I kind of don't want to say it, but I want to say it. I want to say I told you so. And the bigger issue is not Al Sharpton. Everybody who's followed me or watches me knows I don't like Al Sharpton. I've made that abundantly clear to anybody who will listen. But what the bigger thing is than Al Sharpton is what Sharpton represents, right? Like, Sharpton is this what you want to call him, a race explainer, or whether you want to call him this sort of Negro whisperer. And the point I want to make in this video, and I won't take up a whole lot of time doing it, is why having these sorts of race explainers or black spokespeople is just kind of detrimental to the black community. Because the thing is, when you look at Al Sharpton, like, he doesn't necessarily speak for black people. He doesn't even, it's not like he even takes a poll of his National Action Network to speak for black, or at least tell people this is what the National Action Network members think about whatever's happening. He goes on to MSNBC basically to leverage the political capital of black people in a way that enriches himself. And that's a legacy that goes all the way back to Booker T. Washington, in terms of enriching yourself by telling, the white community what you think the black community feels about, about any issue. You go on TV and you leverage who we are. Well, this is what black people think. Well, this is what black people feel. As if black people speak some sort of, as if black people speak with one voice, and as if black people are something that needs to be interpreted. We're not a foreign language. There are polls in the black community. There are people who can tell you about their personal experiences, and poor people can speak for themselves. The irony is that we have people like Al Sharpton who make, 6- and 7-figure salaries, who go on TV and speak about the plight of poor black people, as if poor black people can't tell you what they think and feel on their own, as if you can't poll black people, and as if those people can't tell their own stories. And the second thing that I want to point out is that another problem with people like Al Sharpton, going on CNN and MSNBC or whatever, talking about how black people feel, is that these people are not beholden to anyone. Even if an elected official goes on TV, at least that elected official is beholden to their constituents. This person, is not beholden to the black community in any way, to the extent that there is a cohesive black community, which is really not true. We have black poor people, we have black rich people, we have all these people in different demographics with different views. So there is no black community in the sense that we all think and feel the same way anyway. But the real problem is that these interpreters get to go on and discuss the feelings and thoughts of black people, and that gives the impression also that black people are being heard because Al Sharpton, talked about black people, or because, Michael Eric Dyson talked about black people. And it gives the impression, well, black people are being given a hearing. No, really, the only person you gave a hearing was this 6-figure Negro who's sitting next to you, or this 7-figure Negro who is telling you what he presumes black people think and feel. Who's to say that he has some sort of organic connection to black poor people or black working class people to tell you what they think and what they feel? We have black economists, we have black scholars, we have black working people, we have black laborers, we have all kinds of people that we can tell you how each group can tell you itself how they think and feel. When Yvette Carnell talks to you, I'm not talking to you about how the black community necessarily feels. I'm probably talking to you about how I feel, about how the people in my circle feel, about maybe even how some of the people on Breaking Brown feel. I'm not talking to you as a racial spokesperson, and I would reject that notion. I think James Baldwin rejected the notion that any black person should be allowed to speak for the black voice. So what you're seeing, from Al Sharpton today is basically what we've seen for some time. These networks will sort of employ black people to who are willing to take on that mantle to be the spokespeople. And then when they're used up, they're tossed aside. We don't need you anymore. Obama's era is over. You know what I mean? Oh well, it's not something that we value that much anymore. So you're going to Sunday. So I just want to know, how does it benefit us to have these sort of people who are, for lack of a better word, sort of posturing and pondering to blackness, and they just come and go. And I think about how many of you were supporting Al Sharpton as if, he was going to be at MSNBC. He's our voice at MSNBC. He lasted 4 years. He got his money. Now he's gone. Like, how do you feel now? Like, how does that make you feel? Like, do you feel like supporting him and like going against me was like somehow beneficial to you? Like, is that how you honestly feel? Like, do you feel like that Al Sharpton spoke up for you while he was at MSNBC, or was he just a mouthpiece, and not too good of a mouthpiece for the Obama administration? So I think we have to at some point just kind of, come to terms with the fact that this sort of racial spokesperson thing that we have going on is detrimental, because there's nobody that can just speak for black people. I think if you have a group that you work for, you can speak for that group. For example, if you are the head of the NAACP, regardless of what you think of them, you can't speak for NAACP members, however members you have. If you run something, you can speak for the people who talk there and who speak there. And you can speak for the voice that exists there within that demographic, within that socio-economic frame. But this idea that black people need someone who speaks for them, or that speaking for them is somehow a good thing in and of itself, it just doesn't bear any truth, and it doesn't bear any weight. And what you find most of the time is that it's lazy. Even when Al Sharpton had his show, he had who he had to come on his show. He had a lot of people come on his show. He had Joy Reid, Goldie Taylor, all those people. There was no disagreement. Like, there is no intellectual fortitude in this black spokesperson, con game that's running. These people aren't vehemently disagreeing about, in terms of what's best for black people. And I'm not saying disagreement has to exist for the sake of disagreement, but usually when you find a robust intellectual, space where people come together, there's usually some disagreement. It's usually not an amen corner, which is what you normally find. You find black people who go on these shows and say almost exactly the same thing, and then leave as if they've actually done something or accomplished something, when really they're just kind of mimicking each other and putting on a show for mainstream media. And so I think with Al Sharpton parting, and we realize that we've gotten nothing. In the sense of during Al Sharpton was there, Al Sharpton didn't go there and speak truth to power. Al Sharpton didn't go on TV, and talk about what Obama needed to do, in terms of black people, what Obama wasn't doing, where Obama was falling short in terms of the black poor or the black working class. Who is these are people that Sharpton kind of says he supports. These are so when you look at that, you look at the fact that we've had 4 years of Sharpton, and Sharpton has been enriched, and we didn't really get anything. We had 8 years of Obama, and Obama has done his thing. He's going to retire probably in Martha's Vineyard, and it's we haven't gotten anything. So I think you have to look at this and say, listen, black politics right now is trash. The black spokespeople are trash. We have black politicians who are doing the bidding of Wall Street as opposed to the bidding of their constituents, largely because of campaign finance, but also because we're very happy to see black faces in high places, as if that actually means anything. And network TV is no exception. So I think you have to say, going forward, and that's where I'm looking at now. In the post-Obama era, what are we doing? In the post-Obama era, what are we doing differently? In the post-Obama era, how are we going to deal with our politicians? How are we going to deal with these spokespeople? How are we going to deal with symbols of blackness as opposed to black substance and things that impact working class people who are disproportionately poor? Who are and black people are disproportionately, impoverished, So I think this leads to a discussion in terms of what are we going to do post-Obama? We got nothing from Obama. A lot of black people are worse off after Obama. So what do we do? Are we going to hire more racial spokespeople to go on TV and talk to Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes about what we need and then walk away with nothing? Is that what we do? Do we get primetime shows and talk about and have some black people talk about what they think black people need and then we walk away with nothing? Is that what we do? I think it's time to realize that what we've been doing hasn't worked and start anew. And I think Al Sharpton being basically thrown onto Sunday, 1 day a week as opposed to 5, Sunday versus prime time, is as good a time as any to start the discussion.